So this is the last little video I'm going to do for the sine, cosine, trigonometry section. What we're going to look at here is just 5 examples of whether we are going to be doing the cosine rule or the sine rule. We are not going to be doing calculations, we are just going to be figuring out which formula we're using. And we're going to be using all the little hints that I've put into the videos over the last couple of weeks. So, question 1. We need to first label our sides. We don't know what we are doing, but we do know we are looking for angle X. So, I said before, if we're looking for an angle, we label that A. Okay? And the other side will be little a. And then in both the cosine rule and the sine rule, it does not matter whether the other two are B or C. So we have little b, we have C, and opposite we have a little b. You make your list. So we have little a, little b, little c, big C. And we put in the information we have. So 16, 14, 11. We have angle A because that is what we're looking for. We don't have. Now, what information do we have? We have a column of information. We have a column of information, that means we're using the cosine. And we look at our formula sheet and we see that because we're looking for an angle, we are going to use the cosine rule for angles. So that's cos A equals B squared plus C squared. So we're using cosine for angles. Looking at the next one, moving on, let's keep the speed up. Again, we're going to label our sides, and again, we're looking for an angle. So without question, we're going to label that angle A. The opposite side will be little a. Then it doesn't matter which is B, which is C, so we'll call this B, we'll call this C, little b, little c. We make our list. A, B, C, A, B, C, and we put our information in. We've got little a is 20, little b is 11, we don't have little c. Big A is X, big B is 40, we don't have big C. So, what information do we have? What sets of information we have? Well, we don't have the column, but we have 2 horizontal sets of data. So that tells us we will be looking for the sine rule. The 2 horizontals means we need the 2 pairs. We have the 2 pairs. So we are going to be doing sine for angle. And then the only thing we'd have to do, is possible to do it without, but remember to flip that equation so that we can save ourselves some rearranging later on if we rearrange at the start. That's question 1 done. Question 2, we're going through this really quickly. Question 3, again, are we looking for a side? No, so it doesn't matter. And what we'll do, we still need to have that A in there, and we've only got one angle, so that's going to be angle A. Opposite will be little a, B, C. It doesn't matter which way round. We make our list, so we have A, B, B, C, C. A is X, B is 8, C is 10. Big A is 110, and we don't have B, we don't have C. Looking at our data, we have that column of information. So that tells us we're going to be using cosine rule. But we've got to have a think. Cosine rule, what are we looking for? Are we looking for a side or are we looking for an angle? We're looking for a side, so it's going to be this first equation here. So cosine for sides. Now, Question 4, again, we're not looking for an angle, so we don't have to be too picky about which one's angle A, but make sure one of these that you've been given is A. So we have, let's make 30A, and then for a bit of variety, let's make this C and this B, doesn't matter, particularly B, little a, little c. So we make our list. A, B, C, A, B, C. Put your information in. Little a is X, big A is 30, little b we don't have, big B we don't have, little c is 2, big C is 100. So we don't have that column, so you already know we're not using the cosine rule. But we have 1 and we have 2. So that tells us we've got the 2 pairs of data. So we're going to be using the sine rule. And what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for side length. So we're going to use sine rule for sides. And that's nice because it's just the way it's written. You may ask, how do you know and how can you remember which way round you have to flip that equation? The very first thing you write when you write the sine rule is a length. It's little a. That tells you it's the sine rule for sides. When you flipped it for the angles, the very first thing you write is an angle, okay? So that may help you remember which way round. When you're using the sine rule, and the same is true for the cos rule, whatever you write first is whether you are looking for a side or an angle. Side, side, angle, and when you flip it, it would be angle. Okay? Now this last one here I thought was quite important just to go through with you. I think we can just about see it. I mentioned this briefly and we'll work through to see how it goes. We are looking for an angle. Call that A. Opposite side, little a. The other two, live your best life. It does not matter which way round they go. Do whatever makes you happiest. And we're going to do our list of data. So we have A, B, C, big A, big B, big C. Fill it in. We have 3, C's 2, B's 2, A is X, we're looking for that, and big C is 20. In fact, in this situation, I'm going to do it in red, the only thing we don't have is B. And what you may notice is suddenly, not only do we have our column of data, we also have our rows. If this situation ever happens, don't panic. The beauty of it is that you can choose, okay? So if it happens that you have the whole column and that you have 2 rows, don't panic, just choose whichever one you are most comfortable with. I would perhaps recommend having a wee glance back to make sure you've not made a mistake anywhere and that you've labelled everything correctly, because they do try to avoid this situation, but it can happen, and just keep going, showing off your trigonometry skills. Okay, so that's trigonometry. Congratulations.